Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your midweek addiction. That's right, it is the Game Hump. We are here on a Wednesday night, January 25th, 2017, and we have a wonderful panel of guys here this week that are excited to be here, I hope. Well, I'm excited for you guys to be here, and I'm excited for all your ears to be here as well. Some of your ears and some of your eyes watching us. Sorry, I'm clicking away at things so I don't get distracted. And I want to introduce that panel. We'll start with our good old friend, Saru Maru. Saru, how you doing?
Good, man. It's been a while.
It has been a while. What is new in your neck of the woods?
Oh, man, so much. But in actuality, nothing at all.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm going right down the line here. First time to the show. I'd like to introduce our good friend, Dark Kobold. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How you doing? You ready for this?
I'm like the song. Are you ready for this?
Y'all ready for this?
I'm ready for it. I'm pretty ready for it. So I think we're all just ready for it. But I'm so happy that you agreed to be a part of the show. It should be fun. Hopefully it's painless. Usually it is.
We'll see how Saru treats me. But thanks for having me.
He's a mean, vindictive bastard. But anyway.
I am not. You shut your mouth.
Returning back to the show, our good friend Rover. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. Having me some diet blood here.
Okay, I'm like the only person not drinking today. This is awesome.
I'm drinking soda. Oh,
and
I'm drinking rum.
Dragon Master Dan, you are back again. Hello, friend.
Hello there. How are you?
Really well. Really well. How is everything in Chicago?
Well, my well, it has poison water. I went in there and I tried to scoop all the cup, and little girl, she fall down the well, and I very sad.
And of course, you know the weekly Game Hump is brought to you by duophile.com. Just had to throw that in there because
Duophile's awesome.
Duophile's awesome. Also, for all you guys that are listening to this, you can check us out on tunein.com. Also, Podomatic is our home as far as the audio versions of our podcasts. If you're joining us via YouTube, thank you so much for being here live or just catching the stream later on. If you ever want to introduce. Okay, now I'm getting messages again. If you ever want to interact with us live on the podcast, you can be a part of the show. Check us out on facebook.com/gamehuggers. Or if you want to get a hold of me on the social media, you can check me out at _Joshua Turbo. Don't forget the underscore, as it is the most important underscore in all of the internet. Which brings me to a question, Sarumaru.
Yes, sir.
Does your Twitter handle have an underscore in it as well?
My Twitter handle does, yeah.
You son of a bitch. So wait, now your underscore is what, the second most important underscore in all the internet?
It could just be the first more interesting underscore on the internet.
It's
just saying.
You copied my idea. Is what you did.
I sure did. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna use that closing and everything.
All right. So, what are we going to talk about this week? We have a few ideas, a few things that we can talk about. We're going to discuss mostly homebrew development and creation of games for old dead consoles. Why do you guys do it? What's the point of it? What are you guys trying to accomplish?
Because we have nothing better to do.
And also, Sarumaru has been begging to do a pickups section of the show, so why don't we just go ahead and start with pickups, and then we'll just go and let the show flow. We got an hour here tonight, guys, so pickups. Who would like to go first with what they've picked up recently?
I'll go last because I have a lot of crap.
Well, I'll go first. I have a few things, but it's mostly just 2 Star Wars games on the original Xbox. I got Obi-Wan and
Obi-2?
No, I can't remember. I think it was Jedi Knight 2, something like that. Anyway, I got like 6 Star Wars games on the original Xbox now, so and they're all kind of cool. They're actually pretty good games, so that's what I got recently. Woo!
I guess I have a few things I can show off if I just take a moment.
You can take as many moments as you'd like, sir.
But hurry up.
Hey, Josh, you know when you said this show was an hour, I misread it. I thought it said whore.
Hour.
What's the matter with you?
Damn, spelling there, eh?
Complete silence. That's what you get, mister. You get the silent treatment. Now go to your corner. All right, you know what? Somebody else start.
Well, I think DK is looking through his stuff. Anything new on your end of the woods there, Dragon Master?
Oh.
I got a couple things that are here. I get shit in the mail all the time. Sometimes I even get things that are not shit, like urine.
It's because you're so hated.
Video games as well.
Oh, cool.
That is true. But here's one I got in the mail recently. This is Dragon Quest Builders for the PlayStation Vita. This is a physical copy of the game. Now, the interesting thing about this game is it didn't come out physically in North America. They said, you round-eyed motherfuckers better buy this digitally because we're not going to sell it. Fortunately, in Hong Kong, they made a physical English version, and that's what we have here. Next off is a game I got in the mail yesterday. This one is called Gravity Rush. And I hear you float around or some shit. I haven't had a chance to play it, but people told me it's good. Another game I got, and this was a little while ago, but it was nearby, is Shantae and the Half Genie Hero. Or actually, she is the Half Genie Hero. In any event, it's part of the famous Shantae series of platform adventure games, and I've played some of the other Shantae games and find them to be a lot of fun. And the final game that I have, at least within reaching distance of me that I've recently received, is River City Tokyo Rumble. That's right. If you want to be like Kunio-kan and his friends and beat the shit out of people and steal their money, you should go to Detroit. Or play Tokyo Rumble.
All right.
So that was a 3DS game, right?
Yes, it's a 3DS game. It actually came with, it's kind of cool. It came with this keychain. So got a nice little
that is awesome.
Kunio kicking somebody keychain.
Cool.
That is so cool.
I need to get that just for that keychain.
Yeah,
like, that way I can accessorize.
Yeah, I love Kunio-kun stuff.
It is pretty awesome. It was such a great series.
They still make them. You're saying was.
Well, Technos doesn't exist.
Right, but Natsume and other companies that have the intellectual property rights to the Kunio-kan series still exist.
Natsume is on that case that you have right there?
Yeah. Yep. The people who make Harvest Moon.
Wow, it's so weird. Well, Natsume used to make really great action games. Well, they didn't make them, but they worked with teams that they produced games that were developed by really great action companies. I mean, Shadow the Ninja, Shatterhand, any other Nintendo games that started with shh.
Hey.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You know, like Shantae there, eh? You know, that's a game that starts with shh. But, you know, it is not made by Natsume. It's not a game either.
Shanty.
Shamu.
Chanteuse.
Careful, do you want to go ahead with your big pickups for the week?
Sure. So, since there aren't enough North American Nintendo games, I've started going for the PAL games, you know, because eventually you have to start collecting different cartridges. So I picked up Devil World, Probotector, which is, if you don't know, Contra with robots. And it's really pretty, and it plays exactly the same. So they were super lazy when they ported it over to the PAL region. They're like, we don't need to change the speed at all. We'll just have it run like a North American game. And then Euphoria, love this game. It's a lot like Shantae. It's a 2D adventure game. And then, since we're going to be talking about homebrew, felt like showing this off.
That's Sunsoft. Whoa.
Yeah. It was released only in Japan and in the PAL regions. It was released as Hebariki in Japan, and there's a whole bunch of Hebariki games out of Japan. They made these guys into an entire series of weird kind of Mario Party-esque games. But we never got a single one of these games in America.
You know what's a better game than Euphoria is in that series?
Which one?
Euphoria.
Oh, God.
Oh, I'm just going to mute his mic.
And so finally, I just wanted to show off this recent cartridge, Quest for Kings. It's by Ludosity, and it's great homebrew on the NES. One of the things about homebrew is I love to support other homebrewers when they come out with stuff. Unless they're Sarumaru, then it's like, no, I don't want to give them any money whatsoever.
All right, cool.
I see how it is.
That's awesome.
So, Dave, you're back in your seat. Do you have any new pickups to show people?
Yeah, one. That's it. Just one game.
Okay.
This is the only thing I bought in recent times, and I got it for like $5. That was it. I've actually never played it before.
Nice.
I wanted to try it.
Got a word?
Yeah. That's it.
That's awesome.
I'm so broke right now, I can't even afford Nutella. So I got the generic variety.
All
Hazelnut
those
spread.
products are not so nice.
Yes, they're very nice.
I like
What
it.
else is nice? Your hairstyle.
Dragon Master's he's got some style.
Yeah.
Style and profile.
That long.
Don't lie to the man, Jesus.
Yeah, if you lie to Jesus, he gets really pissed off and poisons the water he turns into wine.
He does.
All right, so let's go over a little bit here. We've got a few different developers with us, very, very talented individuals, and Dan, with us this week. So, Rove, we've known you for so long now. You've worked on a few different projects on the PC Engine. Of course, Mysterious Song was released just a few years ago. You and Saru are currently working on Henshin Engine together.
Yes.
Now, Dark Kobold, you are also working on a PC Engine game. What is it that you're working on? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so I'm working on Catastrophe with another PC Engine forum member named Gredler, also a member of Duophile, brought to you by duophile.com. And so really we're just building a game out of just the love of the PC Engine and really wanting to learn about how to develop a game for an old system. He's not an artist for old systems, and I'm definitely not a programmer for old systems. So we're kind of just threw ourselves into the deep water and saw if we could swim. Catastrophe itself is a game about a cat wearing a Mega Man helmet and his antagonist, Bow Wowzer, which we're still working on the name. And it's essentially meant to kind of simulate old-style 60s cartoons. We really thought of Hanna-Barbera cartoons as the style we were going for as far as the art and the feel. And so it'll have 6 total levels, and each one is essentially going to have a different play style to it. A lot of it came from one of my personal favorite games, Battletoads, where the play style changes a lot each level. And
so you mentioned you were using Hanna-Barbera cartoons as the basis. From what I remember about Hanna-Barbera cartoons, a lot of them were about teenagers solving mysteries. So I'm assuming that's going to be a level.
That's a good idea, but I'm trying to remember what Gredler's favorite game was. Or cartoon was. It was about a dog that didn't do a whole lot, but he wore a bow tie.
So I think he's supposed to look like Muttley.
He is a mix of Muttley, yeah. So our dog has a little bit of Muttley to him, and especially the personality. But he also has a little bit of, and I'm forgetting the name of the dog. Not Scooby, though, sorry.
Zoinks like Scoob, it's not you!
Oh, look what you did.
Are we going to have Scooby for the rest of this podcast?
Well, it wouldn't be a proper show without Dan Scooby and what's his name impression?
Shaggy.
Yeah, him.
Yeah, he does a pretty good Shaggy.
Do more Shaggy.
Zoinks like, hey Scoob, want to get stoned in the mystery machine? Like, let's totally go see some ghosts. No, I'm just going to go from there. But anyway, we'll go on to more about Catastrophe. So the idea is Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I'm guessing that one thing you'd want to do with the design of your character is you'd want to make a bow tie or something that cuts them off at the neck to simulate the limited animation of all of those Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Because it was so piss poor, you would always have like Fred Flintstone, and they just make his head one cell, and the rest of the body would be something else. The same thing.
Or
with
just their
Huckleberry
legs
Hound.
would be moving.
Yes. Yeah, the limited animation they used was so terrible. It wasn't Rocky and Bullwinkle terrible, but it would be kind of funny to parody that. Like, now I'm going to put on a bow tie so my head can move independently from the rest of my body. You know, and just putting these little references like that into the game.
Yeah, that's what we were totally going for. It had nothing to do with sprite limits or memory limits. It was to emulate the style for sure. So our dog actually wears a handkerchief around his neck, and that was mainly to copy the style. I had no idea that that's why they had things like handkerchiefs around the neck to limit the sprite. So we're working with a limited amount of memory and a little limited ROM size and all of that. And so our cat's head moves independent of its body, our dog's head moves independent of its body, and we can swap the sprites out for each of those things based on what the dog or cat is doing at the time. And so we're actually doing exactly that, and I had no idea that it was a old style cartoon thing.
It was a way to save money on animation because they could basically just draw like one torso for Fred and be like, all right, we're going to do 100 episodes. We've got the torso.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned that because one of the other things I did for cost saving in cartoons was just repeating the background in like a chase scene. Yep. And so one of our levels has a vacuum chasing the cat through this obstacle course, which is going to be a lot like the turbo tunnel. But we're essentially mocking that sort of reusing the background because the cat's just going to keep running past the same background over and over again. And that's going to both save us on a ton of memory from having to reuse the backgrounds and also sort of emulate the exact style we're going for. So because they were limited back in the day for animation costs, it kind of matches what we're limited by in ROM size and memory size.
That's really cool. So you've had, I know that this I've followed somewhat on the forums on PC Engine FX. You had a few different threads talking about the game, and you know, you got like the progress from point alpha to like omega to whatever of where the game has grown since you guys started developing it. But how did you really start to just kind of put it together? What was it kind of like a inside joke? Was it beat 'em and eat 'em? Was that the initial?
So the initial thing was, for the longest time, I've had this idea of my cat hates water, and so I thought of this big shower boss that would try and get the cat wet. And this has been literally in my head for probably 2 years before I even thought up Catastrophe. It was just like, what if it's you fighting a shower trying to avoid getting wet while trying to turn off the shower? And so I just so happened to be on Duofile, and they were talking about Hugh C, and I'm like, wait a sec, I can't code assembly worth of shit, but I can actually code C. Let me try this. And so I took the tutorial on Obey Brew, sat down, and then in a couple days I had Paper Bonk fighting the ugliest art you've ever seen. And we call them vagina drops because the best I could do was this black circle with a pink surrounding because I didn't really understand palettes yet. So I had Bonk's face color inside a black circle falling to hit him with this ugly shower monster behind him. At the same time, Gredler was there, and he's like, I can do art. And somehow a year later, we've got this actually decent looking homebrew coming together.
That's so cool. That's so cool. How do you feel that the community has like accepted, or how has the community responded to you showing this thing, saying like, look, I've got a homebrew game coming out too?
They're mostly positive. As most of you know, I don't have always the best reputation on the forums. And so it's sort of interesting seeing people sort of wrestle with the person they thought I was and the person they see me becoming as far as a contributing member of the community. Some will accept it, some won't, but time will tell once it's released. I'm sure somebody will come up with something that I somehow cheated the community. I'm just predicting that there's going to be some kind of drama brought up when this actually gets released. I just have this feeling that somebody's going to make some drama.
So
Well,
when
you're always going to have haters, no matter what. Saru and I can certainly attest to that.
Yeah,
No
David-
matter what.
David, I've seen your haters, and I hate to say it, but it's downright entertaining, the hole they dug for themselves.
I know. Isn't it great?
I have screenshots. It was amazingly, like, brain dead, but that's a conversation for another time.
Indeed.
So I got a question
do you
for
have-
how far along in Catastrophe are you? You mentioned, once it's released, are you planning to take your time and just do this as a side project and not release it until it's perfect? Or is this something where you've said, I have a firm deadline in mind, I have a whole bunch of milestones I'd like to achieve, but if it isn't this, I'll still release it? Or what's your mindset for a development plan with regards to Catastrophe?
So we're doing it as a project of love and passion. So we haven't said anything like we will have it out by August of 2017, which is when we've discussed liking to have it out. But you might not know that Gredler's actually getting married very shortly, and that tends to suck up a lot of your time. And so he just doesn't have the time recently to devote to helping develop the art. And he also has other projects on his plate and a real life like the rest of us. So I'm not expecting. Some people that I've met before have wives and children and those whatever other human things.
You know what? It's kind of interesting. Josh has so many children that the word kid or kidding is also referred to as joshing.
That was actually a good one. Do you guys keep a tally of the good ones versus the bad ones?
That's the first one, so no. But we will now. It's marked on the calendar.
We should have a little thing on the side of the cast that has good marks, bad marks, and vomit marks, etc.
Ding ding ding.
So we have 3 of the 6 levels done, in the sense that the majority of programming's there, the art's coming together, and we have all of the pieces to start putting in place. The ending screen is pretty much done, the level select is done, and the title screen is pretty close to done. So we have one level that's just completely in beta, and another level that's coming along, and then one that hasn't been designed at all. So that gives you kind of an idea of where we're at. I'd say a little over half done as far as getting the content in there before the final polish steps.
So from an engine standpoint, how the game controls, what abilities the character has, how far along are you done with that? You mentioned the levels, you mentioned where you're at with that content, along with enemies as well, because you have to create all of the enemies, how they're going to behave. I don't know if your game is going to have boss battles. How far along are those portions?
So it's actually, the way it's structured is that it's 5 episodes followed by a final season finale is what we're calling it, or final boss. But they're more of, each one is more of like its own boss battle. So it's more like almost a boss rush. And like I said, it's kind of structured around being a different play style for each level. And so, for example, for the shower level, all the control is done. For the vacuum level, all the control is done. We're just working on level layouts and some of the more fun stuff with changing backgrounds and kind of doing that repeating background thing. So it's still interesting, but maintaining that repeating background. And then the final boss level, which we haven't shown, and part of the reason there hasn't been any updates for a while is we want to leave that final boss level as a surprise for the player. So when they come to it, it's not like, oh, I've seen this in 6 preview videos. I've seen 18 demos released on YouTube of the progress. We want that one to not actually be seen until the player is holding the controller in their hand.
Nice.
And all of those are kind of done at this point.
So one other thing that came to my mind is if you're going with the Hanna-Barbera cartoon style theme, I'm not sure how familiar you are with when those shows originally ran, but they would have little commercials that would feature the Hanna-Barbera characters doing like advertisements. So you might have one where it's like, well, boo boo, I want to meet Tony the Tiger. Okay, Yogi. Well, you should get Frosted Flakes. They're great. So I think it would be neat in between levels to have like stupid fake commercials where the cat or whatever characters there are interacting with the mascots of fake products or something to liven up the mood a little bit.
Maybe we'll include something that advertises for Henshin Engine. I'll just give some sprites from Saru, and then we'll be like, Henshin Engine came out way before this game. Buy it.
You just got to give that cat boobs.
Oh, man.
Done.
If you haven't seen, Saru decided to do a little fan art for Catastrophe after I said, what is with Henshin and the boobs? And Catastrophe himself grows very large boobs.
Let's just say he puts the pussy in Pussycat.
Animated boobs.
Nice.
Hey, DK, I got a private message for you from our favorite, from gamehuggers' favorite female fan. She says, haha, women suck up a lot of time. You can tell Cobalt that.
They do.
Nice.
I mean, I'm not going to get any new art for months, all because of a woman. That's how it happens, right?
All right. I also have a couple messages here from the live chat. We are keeping up with that, finally. A couple questions here. One is, where is Lucretia?
Where is it? It's on my hard drive.
I've got a copy of it downstairs.
Is the plan for that to still be released this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, that'll come after Henshin Engine.
I have a punny related question. Which is your favorite game, Dave? Lucretia or Henshin Engine?
That was my extremely dry, sarcastic laugh, just in case you hadn't noticed.
Ha ha.
Well, honestly, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know. I kind of like the character designs in Henshin Engine better. Because, I think they're more interesting. But Lucretia has been one of my pet projects for years, so it's kind of a toss-up.
It's a baby.
Y'all.
So the story is there that Saru came in because you were missing a lot of art, and then drew you a bunch of art, and of course now every female and male character has huge boobs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
Okay, I was just wanting to make sure I got the story straight, and that's why literally even like the swords have boobs.
Yeah, you gotta understand Saru's style. If it doesn't have boobs, it's not Saru approved. That's just the way it is.
It needs boobs.
Sarumaru, it was all about what's his favorite PC Engine memory, and it was definitely the Babette shower scene in Final Fantasy II. So
you know what? I loved that scene, and I actually want to I want to do a tribute to that scene in Henshin Engine, but instead of Babette, I want to do Yuki in that same.
She should be like a character named Boobette.
That's gonna be a secret unlockable image.
Yeah, but are you going to do it as the in-game version of that scene, or are you going to do it as the visual collection version of that scene?
Oh, there's a distinct
difference.
There is a difference. I don't know. I was thinking maybe very light fog effects, like the game version.
Okay.
And here's a question.
People will go crazy.
Here's a couple questions for Dark Kobold. When you guys do eventually come out with Catastrophe, is it planning to have a physical release? Are you guys going to have that come out on a HuCard CD?
Absolutely. We want to do a HuCard. We're planning to do a Kickstarter, but not until it's absolutely 110% done, and then we just need the funds to cover making the actual cards, and hoping to work with people and figure out how they're making these HuCards and not pay $45 each for us to get them. So
Sure. Also, what will the company be? The name be of the producer / developer of this game?
So Obey B, like the Hudson Bee with Obey, but when you say it all together, it's Oh Baby.
Wow.
Why, you know what would be better? Hannah Obey Barbera. Or Hannah yeah.
Obey Barbera. That's actually not a bad one. I'll run that by Gredler. The only splash screen our game currently has is for duo file, which is kind of crappy and ugly, and you know how we all feel about duo file in this chat.
Well, we're all big fans.
Yes, huge.
Where's Melody when you need him?
Drunk?
Probably somewhere off patting his ego right now.
Passed out under a table, probably.
Oh, man.
We love you, Noel.
He's not watching.
For Saru and for Rove, what initially attracted you to wanting to do homebrew games for the PC Engine?
I'll let you go first, Sarah.
Okay. Well, I've always wanted to make a game. I've just never had the means to. Like, I always knew how to art and knew the type of game that I always wanted to make, and I've always wanted to make a PC Engine game for pretty much more than half of my life now. That I don't have the programming knowledge, so I always drew stuff like mock-up games and things like that. And actually, how me and Rover came about with Henshin Engine is he just happened to start going to Dual File, and I started sharing like these little mock-up GIFs, like game-like GIFs of Yuki doing stuff, and then we started talking, and he's like, I think, did you bring up the idea about it, right? To get together and like do something?
I'm not quite sure. It was kind of a mutual thing, I think.
Yeah, it kind of just happened. I don't even remember how it really started, except that I started showing off some Henshin Engine art, and pixels. Then we started talking about it, and we got together and we started making this game. But I've always wanted to make a game, always. So now that I have the means to do so, and I've got a programmer to back me up, I'm hoping we can make more than just Henshin Engine and Lucretia. I hope it doesn't stop with those two games.
With all of the homebrew games that have come out so far for the PC Engine, which is a pretty small volume compared to, say, Super Nintendo, NES, or even Sega Genesis, what would be some of your favorites?
Homebrews.
Yeah, just homebrews. I'm thinking of like some of Mindrex games, Aetherbytes, in addition to, Mysterious Song also came out. I really enjoyed, oh crap, and I'm not going to be able to think of what this is, but I'll explain. Maybe if I describe it, Dan will figure it out. It's that one game that came with like a book or a magazine or something like that. Lock and Chase?
Revival Chase.
Yeah, Revival Chase.
Yeah,
Revival
Lock and Chase.
Yeah, that's a really fun game.
That one French guy.
Is that Toku? Did he do that one?
He's one of the people involved in it.
He's got Chuck No Rice going too, doesn't he? Also has that one.
Him and
I really want.
There was a shooter with it as well.
That's right. Yep.
There was. I didn't play that one, but I got Revival Chase from Chris, whatever his name is, the guy who makes that fanzine.
Is that?
I thought that was pretty good.
Can you still pick that up? Revival Chase?
I don't think so.
I got it from, like I said, it was like Good Old Games or somebody, and I think I got like their second to last copy.
Dang.
Wow.
That game is neat and it's cool to play, but where it really excels is in multiplayer and getting like 4 or 5 people around a TV and playing it. Oh my god, it is really fun.
Is it?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
I guess I haven't really given it much of a chance, really.
With multiplayer, it's like it competes with like, I mean, it's not quite as cool as like Bomberman or Battle Load Runner, but it's up there, dude. It's really fun multiplayer.
As far as like favorite homebrew for the PC Engine, there really isn't a whole lot. I'll have to say, probably Mysterious Song is one of the games that comes really close to like an actual game that's come out. And I'm not just I like a lot of the voices in the game.
It's got great voice acting.
Mysterious Song, yeah, some pretty good stuff. And actually, but I like the artwork. I think the artwork in Mysterious Song is great.
Yep.
Black Tiger does good work. It's an all around good game. But other than that, there isn't really any other homebrews that I'm excited for on the PC Engine because there aren't really any. I am excited for Catastrophe. Super excited for Catastrophe, and I can't wait for that to come out. And I really hope that they get that stuff together and put it on a Hue card because I want that physical copy to put on my shelf and never touch. Like I'm never gonna play it, but I just want that physical card game for the shelf. So,
well, I hope you never play it either. So you know.
We already have.
We got a question from the live chat asking about what about Apothecary?
What?
Apothecary.
I don't know what that is.
Is that a homebrew?
Yeah, that's I think that was someone who started on that, and then they abandoned it, and then someone else picked up the assets, and I guess they were making it from scratch, or I don't know what it was. What into it too much,
So a little bit off the topic, but still on favorite homebrews. One of the best inspirations for homebrew for me has been Battle Kid. If you've heard of it, it's a homebrew for the NES, and it's just absolutely incredible. It's not just one of the best homebrews ever released, it's probably one of the best NES games ever made.
I wouldn't go that far.
It is really good, though.
Personally, it would be in my top 5 NES games, especially the first Battle Kid. Absolutely love it. It's in the style of I Want to Be That Guy, where it's insanely difficult, but fair, and you learn it, and you get better at it. And so for me, seeing that people can make homebrews better than released games, and personally in my own top 10 of games, really inspired me to get into the homebrew scene, for sure.
Well, let me go on a quick rant about Battle Kid. I think it's an excellent game and fantastic for a homebrew. The fact that it's single screen and doesn't scroll to me is a little bit of a letdown. Not necessarily a letdown, but it's not something that's on par with some of the actual commercially produced games because it's one screen at a time and then you flip between it. I understand from a design standpoint why they went that way. But yes, it's very similar to Mega Man or I Want to Be the Guy, which is also Sarumaru's catchphrase.
Wow.
You see, I think my argument is that there's a difference between pushing the technology and making a really great game. And so Catastrophe is not going to push the technology at all. But I'm hoping that it'll at least be fun and that it'll be entertaining. I'm going to leave pushing the technology to the experts like Rover, for sure.
Yeah, but Catastrophe looks really divisive, too. It looks fun. You know, you have your stages, and every stage has something that you have to do to get forward in that stage. And I think that's really cool that there's divisive stages where you have to do things to proceed and not just a left and right thing, you know, and just killing things. And that's how our game started off, is just really, really linear. And it seems like Catastrophe was a lot less linear than our original idea of Henshin Engine.
Well, and I think what you guys are doing is just awesome with your, 18 levels of scrolling. I think, you have literally more levels of scrolling than most TVs can handle. So...
Hey, it's only 8 levels of parallax. Nothing crazy.
Only. I love the parallax. I think it looks amazing.
Parallax.
Yeah, so I don't think I can even spell parallax, much less program it. So.
There was it last year or the year before that, there were the 2 Defender type games that came out for the PC Engine in the homebrew. We've chatted about this a few times, but Mindrek came out with a game that was sort of an older Atari computer clone. I can't think of the name of it. Why can't I think of the name of it?
It's Defender, and then there was Atlantean, which is kind of an underseas version that added boss battles.
That's right.
Awesome looking graphics, scrolling, all sorts of progression.
And then the other one was by Mindrek. That was.
Mindrek had the good one. Not Mindrek had the good one. No. Aetherbyte had the good one. It's Arcane's Aetherbyte had the good one. Mindwreck, and I can't remember who it was. It wasn't BT Garner, but it was one of the other people.
No, it was a BT Garner game.
I thought for some reason I thought it wasn't BT who made. I know I have the game downstairs. I know exactly what you're talking about. But I thought it wasn't BT Garner.
I was under the impression it was. He was pumping it pretty hard because it was like a game that he was sort of like a tribute to a game that he grew up with on a computer, something like that. But yes, when we're talking about multiple lanes of parallax scrolling, I was just thinking of Atlantean, Aetherbyte's Atlantean. That's a ton of different parallax. The graphics are awesome.
Yeah, Atlantean is a beautiful game. I mean, it's just
I think
awesome.
I think he just went through his second, issuing of the game again because sales were going so well that if you didn't get your copy now, physical hue card or ab card of it, I don't know if there's ever going to be any more, which is sad.
The really cool thing is that Arc took the design of something like Defender and he added boss battles. He added progression.
Yeah.
As we mentioned before, is beautiful. The music is really good. The other game, of the way you're thinking of, is Hypernova Blast.
That's it. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that's the one that's a little bit more like just stock Defender and doesn't have the bells and whistles and I'm trying to think of the word here. Just the polish that you find on Atlantean.
Yeah, I thought Hypernova Blast was, as far as gameplay, it wasn't bad. Like, it really isn't bad. It's really, really easy. You can play for like 2 hours without dying. But the scrolling is really rough. It's kind of like, ooh, we don't know.
Well, I mean, it has the complexity of an Atari game. So yes, you can play it for hours without dying, but do you really want to?
Yeah, true. I liked the music. All of Mindwreck's games have really good music. All the way back to Implode and Meteor Blaster X. Meteor Blaster X and both that.
Meteor Blaster DX.
Yeah,
DX. Yep.
DX. The D is important.
That's right.
That's
you need the D.
Wow. I almost didn't catch that.
But yeah, so that's awesome. So there were questions about from the live chat. I'm following on the live chat here a lot. Does Dark Kobold want to talk at all about his speedrun or TAS history?
Oh, that's an interesting one. It's actually how I got into game collecting. So from, I want to say, 2007 to 2010, I was big into the tool-assisted speedruns community. And so that's where you take a game in an emulator and you go frame by frame creating the inputs. And you can do things like look at the memory so you can see exactly where the random number generator is. In that way you can affect the future and affect how luck happens. And the idea is just to create something somewhat artistic and come up with a perfect playthrough of a game. But it's not always has to be the fastest way through a game. There's a really funny and famous one where he plays Family Feud and he abuses the system that inputs the answers. And so it will be like, what is a job that starts with B? And he says, Keanu Reeves personal bather. And it accepts that as an answer of banker. And so it's just cool ways to abuse video games from a different perspective. That earned me an interesting reputation on the PCFX forums because they didn't appreciate that art form. But what happened was somebody found a way to actually play back the input of a tool-assisted speedrun directly into the console itself. And so you could see if the input file you had created in the emulator would then work in an actual game hooked to a console. And so if you've heard of the big speedrun communities, or the big speedrunning convention that just ended about 2 weeks ago, the Awesome Games Done Quick, they now have a task block where they show off these tool-assisted speedruns. And where they've taken it is just mind blowing.
Yeah. I thought AGDQ was that last week or 2 weeks ago was an absolutely fantastic time, and I did watch part of the TAS block. That was a lot of fun. They did some really crazy things, just breaking games, ripping them apart. Like Super Metroid, I think, was one of them, or Gradius 3 on the Super NES. That was awesome.
Yeah, and they can do these cool things. And one of the cool parts is it's actually being played back on a console. It's literally the game, the system, and then just inputs to the controller. And all of it's done directly from the controller. And so that's where we kind of get this idea that it's the theoretical possible, right? Like if a human could move as fast as our computer and could think as fast as our computer and know future, then it could, the human could achieve the same thing that the TASBot does. So I actually had one of the first iterations of TASBot, and it's like, oh, I need the games to test these. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I love games, and I love collecting games, and I think I'm just going to try and buy all these games. So then I kind of, over the years, lost interest in tool-assisted speedruns and became way more interested in game collecting, which introduced me to homebrews, and that's why I'm here today on the chat.
That's
so
awesome.
Here's a question for you with regards to tool-assisted speedruns. Do you find Tool to be as helpful as other rock bands in these speedruns?
Jesus Christ, dude.
Oh, God. I thought you muted it.
For the lane pile.
Oh, man. Well, that's awesome. I think that's really cool. Oh, my God. Someone's got the draw thing going on.
Yeah, throw a red rum or something on Soromaru's wall.
Yeah. Red rum.
What about my
So
wall?
I think, Saro, you were talking about wanting to do a quick tour of your... Wow, that's impressive. A quick tour of your game area, because you were talking about, oh, I got so many amiibos I got to show off. Where's my
Oh my
amiibos?
God, I got so many games.
I need amiibos for my amiibos. I can show you my amiibos.
I need all these.
So why don't you give us a quick little runabout, a super runabout?
All the amiibos. Oh, I'm getting like weird like echo. There we go.
It's all good.
Alright.
Yeah, I'm getting a different weird dolphin, possibly Flipper.
Wow.
Those are my amiibos.
There's the
I pretty much
amiibos.
stopped buying them because nobody cares about them anymore. So
You'll still be able to use them with your Switch, assuming you get the Nintendo Switch in March.
I did pre-order it. I don't care about it, but I did pre-order it. So those are my
That
amiibos.
makes sense. It's like, I don't care about it at all, but I did go through the effort of placing a reservation for it and spending money.
Yeah, I know, right?
I did. Well, I had someone else reserve it for me. I'm just gonna pay the money when it comes out. So this is my wall of sheaves. These are all my PC engines.
So pretty. So pretty. Wait a second. Is that a Final Fantasy box on top of your PC Engine area?
Is it?
What the hell?
That's blasphemy, dude.
Where do you see
No.
that?
Down. Oh, maybe it's not. Never mind.
Oh wait, no, you're right. These guys up here, they're a Wonder Swan.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Wonder Swans. But anyway, the only thing that's important here is this shelf here, which is the PC Engine stuff.
Nice.
And
Is that a
everything else-
legit copy of Sapphire?
It is.
Whoa.
Yeah, I keep the real one on the shelf, but then I've got some fake ones.
Booty.
Booty sapphires.
The Tobias special.
No, actually, this one's not Tobias. This one's like one of those like printed CDR things.
Oh, from like Jody or Megabucks.
Yeah,
One of
except it
those
didn't
guys.
come from either of them. This CD is actually silver.
Is that one of the Care for Data ones?
No, that was.
Those are Tobias's.
That was Tobias also, the Care for
Okay.
Data.
Don't
But
mind
anyway,
me, I'm dumb.
This is pretty much my game wall. Everything else is not really on a shelf,
Cool, dude.
and all kinds of shit on the floor. So it's my messy ass game room.
Missy ass.
At least you have a game room.
That's true. All right, I'm gonna go back to
Back home.
back
where
to
you
the
belong.
internets.
Back to the interwebs. So DK, you had mentioned that you were talking you were talking about getting a physical version of your game out, and you want to put it on a Hue card, and you want to maybe even potentially do a Kickstarter. Have you thought about like getting a hold of any of the guys that do like the Turbo reproductions or anything like that, like Jody or TurboCon? They're pretty skilled at making Hue cards, and have you thought about reaching out to those guys to order some from them?
So I'm hoping actually to ask them, hey, if I'm not competing with you for reproductions, will you just teach me how you're doing this and give me the supplies? Because I'd really like to do in-house manufacturing, right?
Oh, there you
because
go.
then I can do my own quality control, and if people want more, I can order more. And then there's just I think Gredler and I want to be the main source for this, right? Even though we're still fighting for a musician.
Yeah.
So,
and speaking of a musician, you mentioned you wanted to do in-house manufacturing. Are there other musical genres you'd like to do, like in hip hop manufacturing?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Every episode needs its own level of cringe.
It does. Take a shot for every time I say "wow." Did you?
I need more blood.
So I know that Sean and Jody from Turbo Reproductions, they learned what they learned working with Chop. I don't know what kind of relationship you have with Chop 5 from the PC Engine NFX forums or on the live chat the chat room that we have. But I'm sure that there's a plethora of individuals that are out there that would be willing to help out. So I think that you're in good hands.
That's what I'm hoping, and I think that so long as I'm not trying to like take their business or become a reproducer myself, they'll be like, yeah, we'll help you out and we'll make sure you get some of these games out, because hopefully the community will just want to support getting homebrews released and seeing them out there.
What's an important part that you brought up is being a reproducer, because Josh is an expert at it.
Many babies.
Oh,
nice,
very nice.
DJ, nice.
It's missing the boobs, though, Saru.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you're slacking, dude.
It needs boobs. It doesn't give me the option to erase. I have to. Oh no, wait, no, I can't. Nope, that's not. Nope, can't do it.
Oh, there you erased something. Yeah, you're erasing right now.
Lag. Bam. Doo, doo, doo.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to go bar shopping with that.
That looks more like tumors than boobs, but
Cat's cancerous. Oh.
All right, guys. So, what would you like to end today's episode with? Any kind of last minute words of wisdom for our audience, or for anything else you'd like?
Don't buy this game.
Mighty Number 9.
Unless you can get it for really cheap. I think I got it for like $7.99.
Yeah, it's pretty much under $10 everywhere. Is it really like? Have you played it and you just dislike it?
That's all right. It's not bad. It's I'd say mediocre at best.
So isn't that kind of the definition of bad?
Yeah, I guess so. It's all right. I guess for the price, it's good.
Okay.
Under $10, it's a good game for under $10. But if you paid any more than that,
Well, I usually don't buy games with deer, but I'll keep that in mind.
Good to know.
Rove, do you have anything that you'd like to share, or words of wisdom for Dan?
No, not really.
Yes, I'd like to share more about Henshin Engine. Oh, would you now? We should talk about that.
Oh, what do you got to talk about Henshin Engine? Any new news or blockbusters coming out?
No, but we're adding a bunch of stuff to it.
So let's talk about the title of Henshin Engine a little bit. This is if I'm going to translate this from the proper Japanese, it is new female chicken engine.
Yes, precisely. Your Japanese is immaculate.
Thank you. Or as they say in Japanese, Ari cat.
Because
I'm just
gato is
shaking my
cat in
head.
Spanish.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Gozaimasu. But yeah, we're
So
making a bunch of
aside
changes.
from the Yuki shower scene,
So is that still going to have a Q1 release this year, or is it Q2 now? Or
That's cheap.
it's going to be Q7.
So here's the thing: we want, obviously, we want to release it in Q1, but I might be making it a little hard on our programmer because we're adding a bunch of stuff, and Henshin Engine isn't anywhere near as linear as it used to be. When we first started the idea for Henshin Engine, it was going to be, a very straightforward left to right, 16 screens per area, max 2 areas per stage, and Yuki was going to slash and jump, and that's it. We started adding things to Henshin Engine, like Yuki now, Yuki gets power-ups, a number of power-ups that she picks up throughout the game. She's got a charge shot, she's got a double jump, she's got a slide. What am I missing here, Rover? What else do we add?
Well, one other thing I was going to mention is you said you're making it hard on the programmer. One thing that's probably that you've added that's making it hard on the programmer is all those boobs.
The memory constraints on those, oh my god. That's like a gigabyte each.
Their boobs are killer on RAM.
Yeah, no doubt.
But the game's a whole lot. It's shaping up pretty nicely. But because we've added all these, what was that?
Would that shape be round?
No, it's going to be square.
So Saru and Rover, I have a question for you.
Yes,
One
sir.
of the things I'm always trying to avoid, and it's mainly because I'm not that great of a programmer, but feature creep.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that actually.
Yep. Because for me, every time I add a feature, there's the possibility of slowdown or more glitches, and so every time somebody's like, "Well, why don't you include this new feature?" or "Why don't you have the cat do this?" and actually, Gredler's one of the worst of them. For let's add flowing soap bottles that tip over. I'm like, oh my god, just kill me now. So how do you guys avoid that?
I'll let you take that one, Rover.
Well, basically, the best way I found to avoid feature creep in general is just you have to have all your basic ideas laid out at the start, and the only reason you would add additional things to the design is if first of all, if it's feasible, and if it makes it a better game. And of course, you need to consider any kind of balance issues that it might introduce. Because you make your character way too powerful, all of a sudden the game is a cinch. So,
yep.
And if you're adding like 6 different versions of the same thing, you have to take a step back and say, what the hell am I doing here? Just one will suffice. But you don't want to go too crazy. And the best way to do that is to have most of it laid out at the start. You know what you're going to do, and you just work from there. Anything
Rover,
anything you add to it has to be able to actually make the game a better game without screwing everything up. So that's about it.
So Rover, with regards to having everything laid out at the start, on a PC Engine game, would that be at the run?
Yes, that would be at the run.
Just the yes.
Dead silence, man. Dead silence.
Josh just kind of checked out for that. We didn't even get a wow off that one.
No, I honestly thought Dan was asking an honest question the way that Rove responded with just yes.
Yeah, that was my
actual
deadpan face. So.
I'm glad that we
Josh normally uses the term WoW more than a World of Warcraft podcast. So he's definitely checked out today.
I think in the end, though,
I mean, all those kids you have to chase all day long, it'd make you tired.
It does. It honestly does. That's true. But now
he's
I've got
so
one.
many in his van with his candy. So
That's true. You have to get the good.
That one.
You have to spend the money on the good candy these days. But my just today I wanted to mention too. My oldest son actually turned 18 today, so
that's awesome.
Sending a child off into adulthood. Hopefully he's prepared. He's got plans and is getting ready for college. So hopefully he is ready for the world ahead of him. Our new America, making America great again, should be a blast. Yeah. Anyway,
that one either.
There. Oh, you look so. You're very distinguished with that hat. Looks great. There it is.
I like this one better.
Anyway, for
me.
For Dragon Master, for Rove, for Dark Kobold, and for Sarumaru and myself, thank you so much for checking us out this week on the Game Huggers podcast. Thanks for checking us out. If you're listening to us on TuneIn or Podomatic.com, thank you once again for checking us out, as well as on Twitter. You can check out Sarumaru at _Sarumaru. Don't forget the underscore, as it is the most important underscore in all of the Twitterverse. Oh, and I guess you can check out mine too. It's at _Joshua Turbo. A far less original name. That underscore is so hip these days.
We could both share the underscore.
I'm going to create an account with nothing but underscores.
Be awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, bye-bye. Yeah.